Welcome to the second day of Blockchain Bootcamp for Women organized by Kerala Blockchain Academy in collaboration with Kerala University of Digital Sciences, Innovation and Technology. The two-day free blockchain bootcamp is a novel initiative of the KBA Women Connect, seeking the empowerment of women to get into the blockchain technology and become leaders. Myself, Anju from Kerala Blockchain Academy, and it's my privilege to host a two-day free blockchain bootcamp for women. To kickstart the day energetic, we have with us a blockchain athlete who has applied her craft in multiple positions and has donned different roles in blockchain sector. We have with us today none other than Gnana Lakshmi, who's a leadership fellow in blockchain at Women Who Code, an international nonprofit organization that provides services for women who are pursuing the technology careers and also acting as a job board for companies seeking the coding professionals. She has over 7 years of experience as being a software developer in corporate industry. Gnana is extremely passionate about the women in technology and has been leading the Bangalore network of Women Who Code initiative. She has conducted several meetups and tech talks on various topics, including blockchain and machine learning. She's also a very hands-on coder and loves working on emerging technologies. It's a great privilege to have Ms. Gyan on free blockchain bootcamp for women organized by KBA. On behalf of KBA and KBA Women Connect, I extend my warm greeting to you. Thank you for joining us live, Gyan.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for this beautiful introduction, Anju. Coincidentally, I was having a conversation with a group of women in another group just very recently, I think yesterday or day before, and we were discussing about how women generally shy away from switching on their video, right? And this is not just got to do with how they look or whatever. It's and there are a lot of factors associated with it. Probably they are not in the right place at the right time, etc. But that's why I always like to switch on my video and pop in and say hi, even though I can just share my screen and go ahead. Just want to share this tidbit with you, on Women's Day, that if you do want to contribute and you feel like in any meeting, if you feel like you want to make your presence felt, and because it's an online and remote world, in whatever situation you are, in whatever condition you are, feel free to just switch on your video, drop in and say hi, so people on the other side know who are you, and that you're there, you're participating, you're actively participating. So yeah, so now that we have a pro tip, let's get started. I hope that we are able to, everybody is able to switch on the videos at least for a minute or so. So I can just click a picture, right? Let me see. It, I don't see how I can see the I'm only able to see the speaker view. Okay, maybe we'll do this at the end of the talk. Maybe we'll like take like 5 minutes or so, and then while we're doing the Q&A, if possible, please switch on your videos just for like a minute, and I'll take like a nice picture of everybody, right? As Anju already mentioned, my name is Gyan, and I'm currently working as a product manager for emerging technologies with Wiley Next. I'm quite passionate about blockchain. I have done two talks with Kerala Blockchain Academy, so I'm really excited that I was invited for the Women's Day talk today, and I'm going to be talking about a very interesting topic today, which is taking the world by buzz, that is NFTs, right? Non-fungible tokens. I'm going to be giving a brief introduction about NFTs, and I'll also show you a little bit of code. Maybe we'll not go too deep into it because of the time constraint, but I'll just show you how easy it is at the back end, right, to work with NFTs from a code perspective. So, without further ado, let's get started. Uh, because this is the first talk of the day, and since it's a little early in the morning, I mean, at least it's a little early for me. So I prepared a PPT which is a little more, funky. So I hope you enjoy it. So yeah, let's get started with NFTs. So before we actually talk about NFTs, right, let's talk a little bit about what are assets, right? So we do an assets 101. So people are aware as to where we stand today in terms of digitization of assets. assets, right? So what is an asset? An asset is simply something that is useful or valuable, right? It could be an object, an expertise, a cryptocurrency, a dollar bill, right? So it could be anything. So anything that is of importance, that is useful, that is valuable, it's an asset. Where can assets be traded? Wherever we have a marketplace or a market, that's where we can trade, exchange these assets, right? Now let's come to asset digitization, right? What is asset digitization? Asset digitization is creating a digital version of physical analog assets. For example, if you have a mobile phone, right, and you want to say ensure that you are able to enable like the lost my phone and find my phone, sorry, find my phone property, you can digitize this assets by generating a unique barcode that will be present on your phone. We already have something for every device, right? So that is nothing but digitization of this particular asset, right? Now this digitization, as we are going, as we are expanding, as we are becoming more and more remote, more online, as the economies are becoming more digital, most of the assets that we are trying to move to a digital form. So it could be documents, it could be tradable goods in the supply chain, or it could be art, it could be digital land, in fact, right? So there are a lot of these assets that are now becoming digital, right? Let's see the process of asset digitization and understand it a little bit before we go into what are tokens. So, what happens in asset digitization in a blockchain context, right? So, every asset is owned by someone, right? It's either it could be the creator of the asset, or it could be somebody who sold the asset, exchanged it for something else in return, right? So, the rights to an asset are converted into a digital token on a blockchain. The ownership rights can be transmitted and traded on a digital platform now. That is the idea of converting an asset into a digital token, right? The real world assets on the, say, whatever real world assets we have, like this phone or anything else for that matter, are represented by digital tokens on blockchain, right? So, your physical assets, a digital footprint is created for them. Using that digital footprint, the ownership rights can be transferred digitally without having to go in person, physically, sign documents, etc. The real world assets can be represented by digital tokens. So, this is how your tokenization came about in an asset context. So, what is asset tokenization, right? So it is the now is when we come into what is tokenization and in the context of assets. So tokenization is the method to convert the ownership rights in an asset to a digital token, because you have an asset, but how do you represent the value of that asset on blockchain? You use the process of tokenization. For example, if you have an asset worth $200,000, it can be converted into 200,000 tokens, where each token is equal to 0.005% share of the asset, right? So one of the things is that, and this is I won't get too much into it, but assets that can be owned fractionally, right? This is also a new concept that is coming in. So when you're able to tokenize, and if you own particular x amount of tokens, you can own some percentage of that asset. So for example, imagine and this was a use case that came to me about a couple of years ago actually. Imagine being able to own a house in US, just part of the house, right? So it is like investing in something, a bigger asset, but you can own a part of it. And this is possible through asset digitization and tokenization, right? Once your asset is converted into tokens, the tokens can be issued on any blockchain platform that can support smart contracts. For example, Near is one of the blockchain platforms I just chose as an example here, right? Now, what happens when these assets are converted into tokens? When a user buys a token, that means So now, if when a user buys one token, they are buying 0.0005% of the asset's ownership. Now, if you are able to buy 80,000 tokens, then you can own 40% of the asset, right? And whoever is able to buy all the 200,000 tokens, they become 100% owners of that property, right? This is just an example. You don't have to take this literally. Not all assets can be owned fractionally, right? Some of the assets only can be owned as a whole. So, this is just an example of how assets can be tokenized on a blockchain digital world. Now, one of the things that is happening now is this movement, right? Where assets are being digitized, assets are being tokenized. So, how do we digitize the assets, right? The first thing that we need to do is identify why do we need to digitize this asset, right? It could be trace the different customers who own the asset, the quality of the product, or if you want to derive insights from the data about that asset, right? There are various reasons. Of course, one of the primary reasons is the asset is completely physical right now, and it is becoming difficult to exchange it in a physical context. That is, there's a lot of fraudulent documents available. There's a lot of fraud, or ownership is not being clear. For example, land ownership, right, in India has always been one of the top issues, if you see. So think about this as, why do you want to first is identify why do you want to digitize this asset, right? Then second is, how do you want to digitize, right? How can you attach a physical entity to this product? So if you have a product like a big product, say I don't know, like a bag of coffee beans, right? How will you actually digitize that asset, right? It's a bag of coffee beans. So what will you attach to that? What will you use to ensure that that bag of coffee beans, which is a physical asset, becomes a digital asset? What is the process that you can follow? So, first is why, and second is how, right? And third is, once you digitally register and activate the ID for that asset, ensure that the kind of data that you're collecting from that asset can be used to derive valuable insights, right? Because that is your whole additional point of having a digital asset. You can always have a physical asset, and you can exchange it and then you can forget about it. But think about moving assets. What is the value in digitizing them? The value is being able to derive some valuable insights from the movement, or from how the asset is behaving in the market. So ensure that whatever data you associate with the asset, you're able to derive some insights from it. Why tokenization? Well, it's because you can get increased liquidity in the market, right? Your cost to kind of work with that asset is reduced, right? You don't have the overhead of signing digital documents, or paying extra bribes, or ensuring that ownership is transferred to your name, right? Everything is happening digitally. And then faster settlement. This is something we have seen as well, right? Suppose you want to own a piece of something that is digital, a piece of digital art, right? Once the smart contract executes, the ownership is immediately moved from person A to person B, right? So the settlement is extremely fast when it comes to blockchain. And this is why people started preferring tokenization. Here are some more advantages of having blockchain and tokenization. You get an immutable record of what is happening, right? It's If you use a public blockchain, then it's available in the public distributed ledger. There are no territorial barriers, right? You don't have to in person go and just buy from somebody who's your neighbor or who's living like at a 5 kilometer radius from you. You can always buy stuff that is in Africa, that is in US, because it's all now digital ownership, right? Fractional ownership, again, this is something interesting that I mentioned. It's very interesting in a real estate use case, right? Imagine being able to be a part owner of a chateau in France, right? How cool is that? And quick and cheaper transactions, of course, right? Because we're using an underlying blockchain. Now let's go to NFTs. We're finally here. What is the difference between, so now that we know about tokens, tokenization, and assets, right? When I say non-fungible and fungible, think of them as non-fungible assets and fungible assets, or as non-fungible tokens and fungible tokens, right? So you can draw parallels as you know now what is an asset and what is a token, right? So, fungible assets are your day-to-day money that you use is one of the best examples of your fungible assets. They have the ability to be swapped evenly with an asset of the same type. That is, they are interchangeable. What does that mean? Now, your fiat money is a fungible asset. That means if you have $100 bill versus if you have five $20 bills, you can exchange these two, right? Because the type of the asset is fungible. They can be exchanged with each other. They can be easily interchangeable, right? When it comes to non-fungible assets, right, they are the opposite of your fungible assets. They are important, they have some value associated with them, but they cannot be interchanged, right? Now think of something that, for example, when you're playing this Angry Bird game, right, think of something like a badge that you won in the game, right? It is completely different from what some say somebody else who has won another badge in this game, but maybe at another level, right? These two are not interchangeable, right? One of the other examples that we also give to understand this in a better context is, suppose you are making something at home for your family or for your extended friends or whatever. Suppose you are making cupcakes, right? And say you give the recipe to your friend and your friend also follows the same recipe. The actual end result is never going to be the same, right? It might be the same in the taste and the texture, etc., but your whatever product you create has a touch that you have given, and whatever product somebody else creates has a touch that they have given, right? And these two cupcakes that have been made by you and your friend are non fungible assets. They are actually not interchangeable. Uh, so this is one of the interesting properties of non fungible assets that help create non fungible tokens to represent digitally owned objects, right? So let's understand a little bit more about what are NFTs, right? So NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, can represent a digital asset that is unique in nature. Like I said, your cupcake is unique, right? And somebody else who maybe replicates the same recipe, their cupcake is unique to them, right? So you can, and similar to that, you have digital art, you have digital media, you have domain names which are all unique in nature, right? And NFTs can represent a digital asset that is unique in nature. The ownership of NFTs is recorded on the blockchain using digital agreements called smart contracts. So, as we just saw a couple of minutes ago about asset digitization and creating the ownership on blockchain, this is where NFTs bring in are bringing in a lot of excitement, because the ownership of these NFTs is recorded on the blockchain using digital agreements called smart contracts. Now that the ownership can be recorded on blockchain, it can be easily transferred, right? So the ownership can be transferred and traded online using secure blockchain contracts at the backend. That is the third point, if you see here. And NFTs are becoming more and more popular because they have brought about a secure way of creating digital ownership, right? Of scarce material. This is very important, right? Now, I'm sure, I don't know if you have heard of this, but if you see, there is a platform that is now NFT making your tweets, can make your tweets as NFTs, right? So there is a recent tweet that was going about by Jack Dorsey, which is now being bid for, like, I think millions and millions of dollars, right? So according to me, that does not make sense, because NFTs are creating a secure way to delegate ownership of assets that are scarce, right? Like your digital paintings, your digital art, or even domain names, I would accept that, or collectibles in a game. That is also becoming a very, very popular use case, right? You play some game and then you collect something in the game, like a gun, a sword, or maybe, I don't know, like a diamond, an ice cream, or whatever. And that's your NFT. And that you can actually trade, not just within the game, but even outside the game, right? You can sell your ice cream, which can be which can act as a superpower in this particular game. Somebody else playing that game can buy that ice cream and then use the superpower in this game, right? So this is also becoming very popular. Collectibles within in the gaming world is also a popular use case, because these are also scarce, right? You only get them within that game. So whenever you think of an NFT use case, or platform that you're building, even real world assets, you can actually go even until there, right? Automobiles, land, etc. These can be NFT'd if enough effort and thought is being put into this, right? So ownership of scarce material, that material is not largely available, right? There are a couple of popular NFT standards, I'm sure that you must have heard, which are going about. The first one is ERC 721. So, an NFT standard is nothing but a set of rules that describes how this particular NFT will behave. These rules can pertain to a lot of things. It could be how a particular NFT is created, or how the tokens in the NFT are minted, or what can you do with an NFT. You can mint the tokens, you can burn the tokens, etc., right? So it's just a set of rules. Don't worry so much about it. It just says, like, okay, like a bible. I wouldn't say bible, but set of rules showing how, what an NFT is and how it should behave in an ideal sense, right? And how should we construct the functions programmatically in order to replicate a particular NFT behavior, right? So ERC 721 is one of the first ever Ethereum based NFT standards that came about, and it is still extremely popular, right? And a newer standard is introduced recently called ERC 1155. It is a recent standard that helps you create classes of NFTs. So, for example, some of the NFTs could be, some assets could be fungible in some class, or it could be non-fungible in some other class, right? For example, a particular sword, a collectible that you gain in a game, it could be exchangeable in that game, right? You could exchange the sword for something else, say a gun, in that particular game. In that case, it becomes a fungible asset. But in the outside context, when you're selling the sword, right, it could be just a non-fungible token. So this ERC 1155 is, it allows you to create classes of assets which could be both fungible and non-fungible. Now, I'm going to be introducing another class of NFTs, which is NEP4. Why am I doing this and why am I not sticking to ERC 721? Is because, as we all know, due to a lot of increase in the gas fees in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? Artists who are trying to create digital art and sell them as NFTs are having to pay a bomb these days, right? So they are paying like, if you have an asset, an art piece that you want to sell for, like, say $50, they sometimes end up paying $70 in gas fees, which is ridiculous, right? So now there are a lot of improvements coming up with layer 2 solutions, etc. But we can also look at other blockchains that are offering the NFT feature. So the NEP4 NFT standard has been created by the Near blockchain, Near protocol, right? So you can see that the Near team has created an NFT reference implementation that uses a different NFT standard, that is NEP4, right? I will open this and show you, maybe in just a bit, right? I've opened it over here. We'll see that as well. So, what is NEP4? It is a very simple standard that does the bare minimum required to support ownership and transfer of NFTs. Now, why is this important to have a bare minimum standard? Is because you can, you can inherit this contract and then change it the way you want your NFTs to behave, right? You may have certain type of NFTs that you're creating where you would think some different kind of ownership rules, or not ownership, I would say, but some kind of additional rules need to be applied, right? So this framework just gives you a basic idea of how you can support the ownership and transfer of the NFTs. I'll show you that in a bit as well in a code format, right? And you can also make your own changes or add your own stuff, right? So one of the important things about NEP4 is it includes the possibility of delegating authority to other users or to other smart contracts. So you don't have to actually, sit and modify the whole code again, right? So yeah, so that what it means is that you, whatever future enhancements that you do, it might be added by cross contract calls with another smart contract. So instead of having to upgrade the contract that we have today, you can make cross contract calls, right? And then you can add the future enhancements to that. So now, before going to the code part of things, just a small demo that I've set up. Let's take a look at the steps, right, for putting up the NFTs on sale, right? So if you see on the right hand corner, right, I will select. You can either select Ethereum or Zilliqa. Let me just be here, right, and I won't be creating an account or anything, right? So here you can see you can list an item for sale, right? It says create it, mint it, earn crypto. Turn any creation into a blockchain item. Trade digital items on Mintable to easily earn crypto. So you can list an item for sale. So you can say that I already have the NFT in my wallet, or I want to create a new item. Now I don't have any NFTs in my wallet, right? So I can create a new item. So here it asks me to create like my user account or whatever, but you can whatever, say you can see, right, somebody has created the dark official music video, then there is mask monkey, like you can see this is like a one of a kind of piece, and then you can see what are the different types of NFTs that are there, right? Psychedelic rave smiley, and then you have some Bitcoin art, you have crystallized in the rain, right? Underpriced, there are some NFTs it seems they are completely underpriced, so you can see the only cheap gas or space. So basically what you can do is you can create a digital piece of art, or you can also, if you own an Ethereum domain or any other decentralized domain name, there are different types of NFTs that you can upload, right? And you can list them for sale, you can list your price and it will go up for sale on this platform, right? Now programmatically, how does it happen? Let me just share that with you, right? Three simple steps. First one is, for your NFT, an NFT contract is created. Okay. So what that means is the NFT creator or owner needs to deploy and either an ERC 721 or any other, say NEP4, whatever standard you want to work with, right? The and that standard contract on the blockchain of their choice by providing a name and a symbol for their NFT. This is the general practice. It would vary from standard to standard and contract to contract. But from an ERC 721 context, this is how your ERC 721 basic contract exists. Okay. Now, this, whatever you deploy, this NFT contract is not your item. It's not the item that you're putting up for sale, right? The item that you put up for sale are actually your tokens. But what you can do is you can create a group of tokens under one NFT umbrella, right? And then put them up for sale. So first, when you deploy the contract, you just get an NFT address, right? Which will indicate that now you have created an NFT. So that's why when you saw on the app, right, you saw that it asked, do you already have an NFT with you, or do you want to create an item, right? So when you say create an item, the first thing that happens is an NFT contract is deployed and you get an NFT address which is unique for you, right, on that particular blockchain. The next step is to mint the piece of art or collectible. So using this NFT address as a reference, you can mint these art or collectible, right? So under your, so NFT is more like your, say, if you have wallet, right? And then you have money inside. So your NFT is more like your wallet, and your tokens are actually the money that are going inside the wallet. So you can mint various number of pieces of art under the NFT, right? Using the mint function provided by that particular contract. And once you mint the tokens, you can put them, the art or the collectibles can be put up for sale, right? So you can put up, like, you can put up 5 tokens under one NFT. You can put up one token for one NFT, where that particular NFT will be, transferred upon the ownership of that NFT will be transferred upon sale, right? So this is a simple process as to how the NFTs go up for sale. Okay, so for this demo, what I have done, let me see, there is a, okay, awesome. Sorry, I thought there was a question. Feel free to pop in if you have any questions on the chat, right? This demo, I won't do the entire demo. Let me just open up. Okay, so this is the demo that I kind of want to show, right? I won't be showing the contract or anything, because let me just post this link in chat. But I just want to show you like how easy it is to, okay. Yeah. So this is Figment Learn is a website where you can learn about different blockchains for free. There are various pathways, where you can learn from the basics to the most advanced tutorials that are available here, and you can also do them, uh, on you can practice them on this data hub. Right. This is a Figment Learn website. So let me stop share and reshare again. Let's, okay, right. So here you can see my terminal, right? Let me make it a little bigger. Okay. And then I'll open this Figment tutorial. All right. So here you can see that you can write an NFT contract and mint your own NFT. That's the tutorial. That's what the tutorial is all about. Here they talk about what are NFTs. Some of the famous NFTs are your crypto kitties and super rare, right? Two popular examples of Ethereum based NFTs. We can also implement NFTs just as easily on the near blockchain, right? So in this particular tutorial that I have chosen, there is a new species of NFT called the crypto flan, right? A single cell organism with unique DNA that is being created, right? So if you might have heard of crypto zombies, which is a tutorial to learn Solidity, right? Something similar happens over there. So here, like I said, the NEP4 standard is being used. So you can see that when I click on the NEP4, there is a GitHub repo that talks about non-fungible standard 4. You can also go. So it just is a standard interface for non-fungible tokens allowing ownership and transfer, right? So you can see that there is a simple transfer, and then you can see like what and all exists in the code. There is grant access, transfer from, etc. So you can go through this and see the technical details. There is a template for smart contracts, right? Now, the smart contract, that is the actual, the NFT smart contract is written in a language called Rust, right? So we are not going to go through the smart contract. What I want to walk you through is just the process, just to, see that how easy it is and how it happens in the backend. So all the prerequisites and everything I have already installed on my system, right? And all this tool chain, the Rust up tool chain, everything is installed. As you can see, I was already trying this out, right? So I have a folder which I've created called NFT, and you can see that inside this there are contracts, and then there are the node modules, etc. Right? So everything else I have already installed, and I have cloned the repo and everything. Right? Um, so let's go down. Right? Okay, so I will just show you the Rust smart contract since I have it opened, right? So here is the smart contract for actually creating your NFTs and minting your tokens, right? So you can see that, so you have like this NEP4, it's a trait. A trait in Rust is similar to your interfaces in Java or C++, right? And these are the main functions that work on your NFT, right? So for example, this is the grant access, right? It grants the access to a given account ID for the token ID. That is, this particular account ID has now access to this particular token. Remember, tokens are nothing but your art pieces or collectibles, right? Then you have revoke access, that now this particular account does not have access anymore more to this particular token, right? Then you have your transfer from, right? So you can transfer your token from a particular owner to the new owner, because that's what NFTs are about, right? They're about ownership and transfer. And then again you have this other another transfer function, right? This will kind of use your transfer from, right? This the transfer uses the above function that is here. And then check access, you can check if a particular account has access to a particular token or not. See, the thing is, why these functions are important. Okay, let me tell you. First is this check access, right? Now when somebody tries to put up something for sale, you need to ensure that they actually own that piece of token. That means they have already registered that NFT earlier using their account, right? And get the token owner, right? So you get whether who owns that particular token, right? So you get an address over here. And similarly, the transfer and the transfer from, I used to transfer the ownership from one NFT owner to another NFT owner. Your grant access and revoke access are you give the access to that particular account to for a particular token or something, and then you can revoke the access as well. So you can see that this is just the skeleton of functions, that's all. This is just a simple set of functions that is present, and you can use these functions and write whatever you want, right? So if you just go down a little bit, we have created a structure called flan. Like I said, this is about creating a crypto flan, each of which will have a unique DNA, right? So everything is unique. So you can see that there is a DNA variable that is U64 that is defined under the struct, right? I won't go too deep into the code since I just want to show you the demo part, right? So you can take a look at the code as in when you have some time, like during your leisure time. So you can see that using this we can look up a token's owner, transfer a token between owners, assign or revoke token transfer rights to another user, right? Let's just move on. Okay, you can browse the rest of the code at your time, right? All of these changes I have already made, so I'm not stopping, right? So let's, okay, all of this is done. Okay, I will just deploy this contract now. So I am using the near CLI, right? So you can download the near CLI as well, and then I'm just deploying the contract. So near dev deploy out NEP4. So WASM is your WebAssembly, right? And as you can see, the contract is deployed, right? Now you get an account ID, right? So this is your account ID that is generated for you, dev hyphen a set of numbers, right? And this is the account ID that we will be using to mint the NFTs, right? So once I have deployed this contract, right, you can see that I've got the account ID, etc. You can also see the transaction in the Explorer, right, how they are mentioned over here. Let's see our contract on the testnet. So you can see that there is a transaction signed by receiver. You can see this is the same ID as the account ID that is creating. It is succeeded. You can see the transaction fee, gas used, the hash of the transaction, block hash, etc. Right? Okay, so we saw the transaction now, right? Now what we are going to do is we are going to initialize our contract, right? So there is a new method in the contract which is used to initialize the contract. So think of this as initializing your NFT, right? So here we have this called, so here what we need to do is for the owner ID, the receiver ID and the caller ID, we'll just copy paste this account ID, right? Don't worry if you're feeling like this is like too overwhelming. I'm just going to be showing you two, three commands. That's about it, right? So one command I've already shown you, that is deployment of the contract. Why I wanted to show you this was to show you this account ID, how it is being created, right? Because think about every NFT, every token, right? It is owned by someone, so you need that account ID. That's why I wanted to show you that deployment. And now what I'm doing is I'm doing near call, right? Using this account ID, I'm going to be calling this new function, right? So that means I'm initializing the contract first. So once I initialize the contract is when I can mint the NFT. So you can see that, oh, okay, seems like I had already initialized this. Okay, maybe it's generated the same as yesterday. Let's see if I'm able to mint one. Okay. Okay, so I'm saying now, sorry. I'm going to paste this account ID here so I can copy it while I paste this command. Okay, so here I'm calling this function called mint token, right? And I'm going to give the owner ID as this particular account ID that I just created. I think the new function did not work because I had already created, deployed the contract and initialized the function yesterday itself. So that's probably why it's kind of panicking. Let's see though. Okay, let's see. Maybe because I already ran these yesterday, it's like panicking now. Should have deleted it and redone this. Okay. Okay, so here I am trying to get the metadata of this token. Okay, I understood what has happened. So what has happened is when I initialized the contract earlier yesterday. So I already created this token. Okay, this is also a good example, right? So if I have already created a token under an NFT, I can't recreate the same token ID again. So yesterday I have already created this 1234, right? That's why this whatever I was trying to do, it just panicked because it saw that I have already created this token, right? So if you see here, here 1234 is given as the token ID. I actually just copy pasted it. I should have changed it. Let me now change this token ID to 2345, right? And then great, awesome. Okay, so we are finally there. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I think that's what happened. That I had already deployed the contract and initialized the contract yesterday. And when I was trying this out, I created a token which was 1234, right? So I figured that if I redeploy the contract, I'll get another address, but that didn't happen. It gave me the same account ID, and for that particular account ID, a token was already created with the token ID 1234. So I couldn't create another one. But now if you see, I was able to create another token with ID 2345, right? So once I have created this, that means now mint token, right? That means I have minted an NFT, minted a piece. This could be just as well a piece of art, or your domain name or whatever, right? And that's all it takes to mint a piece of art in the back end, right? And this is what I wanted to show you. You can later see the explorer, etc., over there. Let me now show you what this piece, whatever token that I have minted, what it contains, right? So it should just contain a random DNA, because that's what we are creating, right? We are creating crypto flans, which with a unique DNA. So if you see, get the token metadata for ID 2345, that is the new one that I have created, and I'll show you one that is for 1234 also, that I had created yesterday. Right? All right, so you can see that a unique DNA. This is it. This is all you have now, using just couple of lines of code. You have created an NFT. You have minted a token. That's all it takes in the back end, right? And you can, now that you have this knowledge, you can just do anything at the front end, use anything in the front end, just make these calls, and create your mint your tokens. You can mint your collectibles. You can mint your art. You can create a place where you can sell these minted tokens. You can create a marketplace where one can come and mint, right? These. So this is just like as simple as that. That's it. So I showed you for token number 2345. I'll show you now for token number 1234. So you can see that a unique DNA again. Some other so there's just a random number generator which is generating a random number. This is just an example to show you, right? And you can now see how simple it is to create an NFT and mint something, right? All right. Hide video ban. Okay. So let me now go back to the presentation. So that was a quick demo that I wanted to show you. And just a couple of things before we close. One thing is, I wanted to introduce the different communities that I'm working with. One of them is Women Who Code, right? Women Who Code is a non-profit which is based out of US, but it has various chapters across the globe. In India, we have a couple of chapters spread across the globe. I lead the Bangalore chapter for Women Who Code, and we are having and I'm planning to start one initiative called Women Who Code India Blockchain, where we focus on getting more women into technology. Right? Generally, our focus is mid-career women, but we also welcome freshers or senior women who are interested to learn about different technologies. So I'm starting this initiative very recently. I'm in the process of kickstarting it, and I'm trying to select a bunch of volunteers across India who are interested to learn about blockchain and who are interested to maybe work with me and create events, curate events, do some research, etc. It will be completely volunteer based role, of course, same as mine. So if you're interested, you can email me at gnana@womenwhocode.com, right? And we can of course chat, etc., and figure out. Even otherwise, Women Who Code, we do a lot of events, not just in the space of blockchain, but in the space of AI, DevOps, cloud, etc. And all of these events now are online and remote, right? So they're accessible to everyone. So you can always go to www.womenwhocode.com/Bangalore and see what are the events happening. There are also events happening with the Delhi chapters, with Mumbai chapters, etc. Right? So we have a couple of chapters. You can go and see all the India chapters and what kind of events are happening. Apart from that, there is another a community that I'm a part of, which is called Near India Guild, right? So, as a part of Near India Guild, we recently launched a campaign called India Learns Blockchain, where we are trying to spread the word about blockchain to local communities in local Indian languages. So, you can participate in this campaign by being able to create, like, any material in your local language of preference. It should just be in any Indian local language, it should not be in English. So it could be a video, it could be an infographic, or it could be whatever you feel like creating in a local language. You can tag us, and you can tag hashtag Near India Guild and hashtag India Learns Blockchain. And we are offering some swags, some kind of perhaps near tokens.
for some of the best content creators, right? And even in general, if you're interested in content creation, you're interested to spread the word about near protocol or blockchain in general in the Indian ecosystem, you can always connect with me, and based on our mutual interest, I can always get you into, the Near India Guild and volunteer over there as well. So, a couple of opportunities here. There is one recent initiative that I came to know about right today morning. That's why I don't have like a better slide for this. But the Women Who Code Delhi has organized an initiative, right? That is, you can build some labs and tutorials, right? So they are looking to build a repo of labs and tutorials from the community. So you are invited to create some mini and useful tutorials to share with the community. And for every lab that's published, there'll be like a happy swag t-shirt. So in case you're interested to participate in this initiative as well, just drop me an email and I'll send you the details, or I'll connect you with the WwCode Delhi chapter. Yeah, that's about it from my end. Thank you so much for being able to join me. And I apologize for the terminal earlier glitch. I kind of misread some parts over there and thought it would work differently. So sorry for that. But I wanted to show you that mint token so you can see, that it's not that difficult in the backend. And all these awesome, this slide template has been given to me. I picked it up from SlidesGo and FreePick. I was super excited by this slide template. And yeah, so the template credit goes to them.